Why would you think solar energy is the future?
Well, solar energy is the future because we are very quickly running out of resources. Our oil reserves, our coal reserves, our natural gas reserves are quickly getting depleted, and in addition that is also creating other problems like climate change and global warming. So solar is a clean source of energy and it does not create any side effects. It is noiseless and it is also renewable. We get the sun for another billion years. We are assured of getting that energy. So that's why solar is the future.
So why would you recommend it over the other sources of energy? Because nowadays there are a lot coming up, such as wind, natural gas, and some people think that future is all about hydrogen fuel cell.
That is correct. There are a lot of alternative resources available. I would say solar is the only solution. I think as we move forward, it is going to be a combination of solutions. It's going to be a hybrid approach. But after a while, you still need, there are remote areas where you may not be able to get wind. There may be areas where you may not be able to have access to hydrogen. So sun shines regardless of which place you are. At least you get some sunshine, at least for a few hours, regardless of where you are. So I wouldn't discount. I would say majority of the solutions would be based on solar in the future, as a foreseeable future, as the cost of solar keeps coming down. Other technologies are still in its infancy, like hydrogen technology. We don't know how to store hydrogen. We don't know how to safely transport it. So there are safety issues that need to be addressed. So I think it's going to be a hybrid. It's going to be a combination of solutions, and I think solar will take the lead.
So we have basically three categories, commercial, industrial, and for the domestic purpose. So how much you think money or power can be saved in those three?
So today our biggest consumption in many developing countries like India and Brazil, our biggest consumption of electricity is for lighting. Lighting is an easy problem to solve. So we can do two things. We can reduce our energy consumption by using LED lights, which is light emitting diode based lights. Now we can reduce the amount of energy used for lighting. That is one saving. The other saving you can get is through heating. Water is another big chunk in developing countries. So we can use solar thermal for that, which is actually well adopted already. But in few pockets of the country have not adopted that. So the three markets: residential market, lighting, if you can address; industrial markets, it is daytime. It is a lot of computers, lots of fans, lots of equipment, motors. If they are small, especially small scale industries and smaller energy footprint, solar can easily provide the electricity they need. This can become a substitute for diesel generator. A lot of industries use diesel generator. Solar can act like a substitute for diesel. And now in other countries, now you had three focus areas. One was residential, the other was commercial, and the other one was industrial. So in the commercial arena, again, buildings use a lot of diesel generator today, a lot of diesel to generate power as backup. All this can be substituted with solar. So there are, in all three domains, we can actually produce more than what they consume, and in fact we can start feeding the grid. We can have something called net metering or feed-in tariff. So we become energy positive rather than energy deficit if we adopt solar.
Alright, so for the homes, in the normal human being point of view, is that so expensive, or is it that it is not really expensive and it is only a myth in the people?
Solar was expensive. It was, when solar originally was conceived and decided, it was mainly designed for the space program, and that's why cost was not an issue in space programs, and that technology was brought in for commercial and residential and industrial adoption. Now, as the decades have passed by, there is a reduction in the price of solar, and solar has become affordable. there is something called grid parity. So the cost of solar generation will be equivalent to the cost of generating using coal, for example. So the coal was always subsidized. Now if all the subsidies are removed, if all the wastage is accounted for, it's probably as expensive as solar, or as solar is as much as coal. So now with the subsidies going away, now with so many financial problems with all these organizations, and also the pollution, the biggest thing which nobody addresses, this is the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about pollution. Everybody puts on their financial hats and say, oh, this is less, this is more, this cannot be used. But truly the cost of coal is humongous. We are paying in terms of healthcare costs, in terms of cost to the nation as productivity decreases. If you account all those costs, really the cost of solar is much attractive than the traditional cost of electricity based out of coal.
So, do you say that there is green revolution ahead, which demands much of renewable energies?
Yes, I believe so. As the world, as this century unfolds, as we will see the deficit of coal, the quality of coal available is decreasing. We have reached peak oil. We have reached peak oil, which means basically we are in the declining phase of the total available oil resource in the whole world. So the price of oil will keep going up. Now the coal, we have already dug up all the good quality coal that is available. The coal that is available in China and India are not the best variety. The BTU content, the British Thermal Unit, or the energy content in the coal is not very good. It has got a lot of particulate matter that does not burn, but that goes up in the air, and that's creating a lot of problems even for solar actually. That is creating what is known as the Asian brown that is sitting over India and China, which is not allowing the sun rays to come in, and it's scattering the sunlight. So we are not getting pure sunlight which we would have gotten if we had not burned this coal. So there is reality of fulfilling the needs of the energy for a country, but we need to start looking ahead. Is this the right way to do it? Is there a better way to do it? I think solar is the answer. I think the next revolution, the green revolution that will happen, is all about storage. Today we know how to generate energy with solar. We know how to generate lots of energy. We just do not know how to store it. So this is where the next revolution, green revolution, will happen. Once we figure out how to store this energy with lots of new technologies that are coming and that are being tested out in the labs, our green revolution will be complete. With generation with solar and some really cutting edge technology and storage, will solve our energy problem for generations to come.
Well, according to you, how far India is advanced in the solar technology, and what do you think the position of solar technology will be in the next 5 to 10 years?
Solar technology per se itself is not a very difficult technology to adopt. We do have the availability of fabrication facilities and things like that here, but it's extremely capital intensive. So end of the day, if we put our hearts and minds together, it's just polysilicon that we need to produce and then make lots of wafers. So as a nation, we need to decide what we want to do. Do we want to buy some of those cells, just assemble it in India and use the solar panels, or we can completely vertically integrate it because we are such a huge market, we can easily afford that capital and build a polysilicon plant in India and make our own cells. Number two, there are a lot of advances that are happening with thin film and efficiency of cells and concentrated photovoltaics. So there are other technologies that can be combined and that can be Indianized so that it meets our requirements. We have 7 or 6 climate zones in India. Some of them are very humid, some of them are very dry, some of them are very dusty, some of them are extremely cold. So in fact, the latest study has shown that Ladakh has the highest potential to have solar energy because it's the cleanest air there. There is no particulate matter, pollution has not reached that spot. So you get beautiful sunlight, and polycrystalline may be the right technology for Ladakh. And for a very polluted city, somewhere near close to New Delhi, let us say, just for an example, thin film may be the right technology to do. And so this way, I think we have to adapt what technologies are available for the Indian condition, and I'm sure we can definitely make all this in India, because we have the capability and the knowledge.
So what would be the role of GREPI in the green energy revolution?
So GREPI has clearly a good vision about, if you look at our vision statement, it says GREPI's job is to adopt, promote, propagate renewable and alternative technologies for cleaner air, water and earth. So GREPI wants generations which are going to come forward later on to breathe and eat clean food and drink clean water, so their quality of life is as good as it should be for everybody. So that is the vision of GREPI, and to do that we are enabling by creating awareness, by providing education, and by providing knowledge, by providing consultation services to adopt these renewable technologies.
Well, one final question. We know that the myth in the public is about the cost. And what do you think is the main thing that is stopping people in India from using the solar, and the obstacles created by the government or public?
So the myth of cost is very much alive. Anytime I talk to anybody, they all love it. Hey, this is great, this is good technology. But they have been, I just now spoke to a gentleman a few hours back. He said he bought a solar lantern for 5,000 rupees that worked only for 1 year, and he had to replace the board, and he had to replace the battery. So the problem today, and that has been here, has been maintenance. There has been very little effort on maintaining our products and designing the products for maintenance free. If we cannot maintain them, we should design products that are maintenance free. So because of this, there is a myth that okay, everything is expensive and that doesn't work. So there are two faces to this coin. One is expensive, another reliability. So we have charged a lot of money and we have not provided reliable products to our consumers. So that's why there is skepticism. The good news is the price of solar has dramatically fallen down. What was $5 per watt, or roughly 200 rupees or 400 rupees per watt, is now available for 60 rupees, 50 rupees per watt. That's a huge 10x reduction in price. So the price part of the solar is reduced. Now the product design itself, and this is where I think excellent Indian engineering can play a good role. We need to do a good analysis of customer needs and where it sits, how it is used, and if we can provide a product that is very cost effective with the lower cost of solar PV and maintenance free product design, I think we'll be in the game. I think these two we need to address. I think we need to remove this myth from customers' minds that it's expensive. It is not anymore. It was. That was true 5 years back, 10 years back, 8 years back. But now with the government subsidies and other things, I'm sure you can, now there is a 30% subsidy by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy if you want to adopt solar. And more than anything, the cost escalation of energy is going up. In Bangalore today, you pay 7 rupees 50 paisa per unit of energy. There is talk of increasing it by another 30% because the true cost is not being recovered. The cost of diesel is going up to transport coal from distant places to the power stations here. So the true cost, when they are added, the true cost of electricity you're getting is much, much more than the cost of solar. So this is the point where it is going to, the threshold we will reach, where there is price parity, as they call it in the industry. So we are reaching the price parity very soon. I think adoption of solar is the right thing for India and our citizens.
Right. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Arun.